Hey everyone, it's Laura Bray at Laura Graham NYC on Instagram, here for Flavors of Philly in the Italian market section of Philly to check out the acclaimed and amazing Fiorella pasta bar. So I can't wait to go in and try some delicious pasta. Let's go. So we're here at Fiorella Pasta Bar, and I'm with the chef de cuisine, Matt, and the general manager, Kyle. So Matt, will you tell us a little bit about the history of Fiorella Pasta Bar?
Yeah, well, I guess the history of the building is it was a sausage factory for over 100 years. 1892. And I think when Mark acquired the building, it had only been shut down for just a few years. And we kind of breathed new life into it. And with Kyle and I here at the helm, Mark kind of brought a new purpose to the building. For the pasta bar itself, I think as an idea, it came from Chef Mark running a pop-up on, I think, New Year's Eve. Because we didn't really have anything special going on upstairs, in the upstairs of Vetri, and so he decided, I think the day before, we're going to announce a pasta pop-up that morning. People are going to come. There's going to be millions of them. We're going to toss pasta all night, and then it'll be huge. And it was all those things. And I think it was after that pop-up that we were done cleaning the kitchen, and he just sort of said to himself, really, with no one necessarily around him, like, this could be a thing, this could be a business. And I remember saying, I heard him, and I remember saying, if this is a business, if this is a thing, I want in. And then he had his cook. We needed to find a general manager. That didn't really take that long because we had Kyle, who had been in the company for years prior. And I think the two of us, it worked in part, at least at the very beginning, it worked in part because the two of us knew, I think, and still know what his vision is, or at least what his end goals are. So yeah, we just went to work.
That's amazing. So now that I know a little bit of history about the building itself,
Mm-hmm.
and that it was a sausage factory, besides that, is there any particular history as to why Chef Mark chose this building for the pasta bar?
Well, I know his parents. I mean, one is it is historically, since I think Italian immigration to this area started in the mid-19th century, 1820s, 1830s, and it was a massive migration out of Europe at that point. Same with the Irish came over to the U.S. in bigger numbers, and it was amazing, right? So this is an Italian-American enclave. It's been that way for a long time now. So I think that our tradition here really fits into that tradition. I do believe Mark has family here. At least in terms of, I think both of his parents grew up in this area. When 9th Street really kind of didn't just run along up and down 9th Street, but actually turned left and right onto Christian. So this was really part of actually an enlarged 9th Street back in the day.
Will you give us an overview of the menu and just kind of highlight some things for us?
Yeah. Well, the menu is, I think the formula behind, there's a formula to it. And it fit an earlier version of this restaurant, and it fits the current version. The earliest version of this restaurant is really very slam and bang. Get in, eat some delicious food, but really this is not your final destination. You're going to go to the movies after. You'll take a walk on the Schuylkill. Whatever it is, this is quick stuff. And Kyle and I made it that way. So the idea was, in our first 4 weeks of being open, people came in, they ordered everything. That we tried to get one single order out of them. And then they would enjoy their food and they would leave. And obviously, alongside our abilities to direct a show, there was the idea that if we had a sprawling menu, that's not going to work at all. So the menu had to make sense first, and the menu makes sense in that it's just a couple of apps. I mean, 4 to be precise. A couple of pastas, 6 or 7 to be precise. Sometimes 8 if we're feeling squirrely. And then there was a couple ice creams and a dessert outside of the ice cream. So it lends itself to, on the one hand, at least the first version of Fiorella, which was get in, get out. It lent itself to that. I don't need to pore over a menu for 20 minutes to figure out what I want. It's all right in front of me, and I'm going to make a decision and leave. And then now, I think we've built in a little more time for our guests to get comfortable, order some wine from a menu that's been curated beautifully, order some drinks from a cocktail list that's been curated beautifully. and then go over a menu that is less now about getting people in and out and more about, I think, the idea of doing one thing really well.
So, Matt, you were just talking to us about, that this is a place where not only can you get really well executed delicious food,
I think so,
but that you can also find some great wine and a great cocktail program to pair that food with. So does anybody want to talk about the cocktail program and the wine and everything like that?
Yeah, I guess these are kind of our two signature cocktails. We always have a spritz on the menu. A spritz is Mark Vetri's favorite drink. If you're in Italy, you're going to get handed a spritz, and we wanted to kind of replicate that in a way. Currently, right now, we have the Lavender Haze. It's a beautiful spring spritz, very refreshing and ties in lovely with first antipastis for sure. And then this cocktail here is our pasta water martini, and this is probably our most famous cocktail. When people hear it, they're like, what are you talking about? But this cocktail is really the true story of how we kind of operate here. We were looking at this kind of vat of boiling pasta water, and downstairs we have one stove and one pot of boiling water, and we're like, what can we do with this product that's just sitting here at the end of the night? Do we just throw it away? Why don't we make something out of it? So, we grabbed a couple ounces of pasta water, shook it with some vodka, and garnish it with gin, and we were like, we're on to something. And that's kind of how it all happened.
I don't know anybody who makes a pasta water martini, so what a creative and innovative take.
Yeah, it's ingenious. It's just like
cocktail.
something that the opening bartender, Kyle Darrow, he was like, I want to do this thing. And we were like, this is incredible, so let's ride with it. And it's never going to come off our menu, and as we expand and open up more Fiorellas, hopefully this will always be the cocktail there too. So
The food looks absolutely outstanding.
I agree.
Can you thank you for preparing it for us. Can you tell us the dishes that we're going to try today?
Sure. We'll start with this one here. This is, I just really wanted to eat like flank steak with chimichurri. So in my head, that's where I started. And then of course everything is rooted in some tradition. So this is a stuffed fazzoletto. So a fazzoletto, and generally fazzoletti in the plural, is really just handkerchiefs of pasta, squares. A really good pasta to start making if you're a beginner to the craft. We just take that square and we add a bechamel and some Bray's short rib, and we alternate filling the bechamel and the short rib into folds of the fazzoletto. And then we finish it with you could call it a chimichurri. In Italy, we would call it a salsa verde. There's some chive and parsley, and then some pickled beach mushrooms. Then this one here is the rigatoni with Fiorella sausage ragu. So this is sort of our ode to what we talked about earlier. It's our ode to the building. It's our ode to the tradition. And really, there's some obvious Italian influence here, but this is really Italian Americanism. This is the red sauce thing that you wouldn't necessarily find in its purest form in Italy, but you would find it in the 9th Street area and further south. So this is, I think, the closest thing we come to a red sauce, the closest thing we come to super ultra rustic cooking, where it's supposed to just be really tasty and a lot of something that's really tasty. Nice, beautiful fennel sausage, a little chili flake, and then we just braise it with some tomatoes and red wine. And that's it. A little bit of pecorino. We finish that. And then next to it is our farfalle, beautiful little bow ties. With a whole wheat dough. My sous chef Max came up with this one, and it's amazing. Super simple. Some pork cheek that we cure into guanciale, some peas, a little bit of tarragon, and lots of vermouth. And then finally over here, this is one quarter of our app menu. This is the gougere. So a little bit of a French influence there. Pâte à choux dough, a little bit of cheese in the dough, some black pepper, and then we just wanted to make like a nice beautiful basket for some good spring vegetables. So specifically morel mushrooms cooked in way too much butter, some more vermouth there, dry vermouth this time, some pea tendrils, and then a gorgeous béarnaise sauce, lots of tarragon, and then a little pink peppercorn on top.
really delicious gougere. Who doesn't love a gougere? And morel mushrooms in too much butter is my middle name. That is delightful. That gougere is really good. Like the pastry itself is really really classic, but also there's like a bit of a like it's very classic to me, but it also kind of is modern in a way. I don't know if that makes like sense.
Sure, absolutely.
But like it's both, which is amazing to achieve. So the rigatoni looks like the perfect al dente pasta. I'm super excited to try it. That is like Matt was saying, that it's the closest like probably here that you're gonna get to like a more Italian American red sauce, but it's not heavy. It's inspired. That sausage has so much savory, rustic flavor to it, and the sauce is delicious. There's a bit of a kick to it, but it's not too much. It just pairs really well with the sausage, and as I mentioned before even trying it, I could tell the pasta was al dente and it's cooked perfectly. So the fazzoletto with the short rib and bechamel and salsa verde. Love every component of this. Your cooking is very refined, but it's also it's inspired, which is different than just being, you know, putting out these simple classic dishes and executing them perfectly every time. This is just fun. It's a fun take on it. It's fun to eat because there's the short ribs that are braised perfectly. They're so succulent, and then you have this fun take on a huge piece of pasta, the creamy bechamel, and then you have to love the vibrant, bright notes of the salsa verde. I mean, it's delicious. You can eat that in any season and in any weather. Which is hard to say about short ribs sometimes. They heavy a lot of times, but that's delicious. Lastly, the farfalle, right? Farfalle, because for us simple people, bow tie. That dish that you said who came up with that?
Sous chef Max.
Your sous chef. I love that. The sauce is, once again, it's very light, but it's like a punch of like a good punch of brightness that you're just like, oh wow, that's really.
That vermouth really comes through.
It's the vermouth for sure.
It really wakes things up, and it's so yummy. It really is.
I like this because it's super simple, but it evolves a lot. And you know, I got salty, I got sweet, I got other flavors in the vermouth. The peas are of course there. The tarragon adds. I mean, I love tarragon. I love sherbet.
Me too.
All really delicious stuff.
So I know we are currently sitting in this gorgeous PDR that is also like got a rustic and homey feel, which I feel like is very special as well. Can you tell us more about the space upstairs?
So we built the space in December of 2022. So this is only a couple months old for us. So we opened downstairs in February of 2020. So we opened just 4 weeks before the pandemic, and pandemic and Fiorella are a little synonymous in the restaurant world because we were a very looked out for restaurant when we were opening. There was a lot of buzz kind of going around, and then we just got open and the whole world shut down, and the two of us knuckleheads were way in over our head, and shutting down wasn't an option for us. It took forever to get this place open. We finally got it open. We started to figure out who we were. So then we kind of morphed into this whole, takeout and dried pasta, take-home sauces kind of thing. And that is really where I think Fiorella kind of separated from other restaurants, and where we really got a lot of attention was because of our relentless kind of character of we're going to do nothing, stop at nothing to make this work. And then as that kind of phased out, we went to outdoor dining, which is why we created the outdoors. The original concept was just about 20 seats inside at the pasta bar. We didn't have reservations, first come, first serve. Our first night, almost 300 people showed up. They waited 3+ hours in line. We had no idea it was going to be any of that sort. So I think our mission was we wanted to see more people. We wanted to bring more pasta to people. And outdoor dining was that option for us for a little bit. And then we welcomed people back inside. We still didn't have enough seats. And then we built up here. And now we have this whole space too, where we can fit about 20 more people up here. We have, almost 30 seats outside and another, 15 inside right now with the new setup and stuff. So, every day we serve a lot of people off of one stove and one pot of boiling water, and it's kind of amazing how we pull it off. I don't know how he does it, but I just look at him like.
It's like constant inspiration, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I was thinking about what Kyle was just saying, and it was obviously bringing me back a couple of years now. What's special about this place, and you don't see it, I don't see it anyways, you don't always see it in any manager, you don't always see it in any managing chef, any CDC, you don't always see it in any owner, or every owner I should say. But what I see here from Mark himself, of course, all the way down to us and into our staff is just constant and consistent inspiration. We really, we took what we learned from our other restaurant that we worked at, Vetchery, and we applied it to here to the best of our knowledge, to the best of our ability. And then, when we had to continue to morph and evolve the restaurant to meet the current needs of the day, Mark inspired us. I think we inspired Mark, we inspire each other, and it's just a constant, like if I don't stop pushing, I might let my partner down. And then he probably feels the same way. So we're really just, inspiring each other and teaching each other every day. It's nice. Yeah.
So I know you mentioned how earlier when we were talking about the possibility of expanding, that we could maybe in the future expect more Fiorellas. I don't know if the New York City is in the plans, but could you tell us more about the future?
New York would be wonderful. Right now we're opening a Fiorella in Vegas. So we're moving to the West Coast, which is fun, to the desert, which we're not desert people.
I don't think so. We're ready to be though. We're ready for it.
Yeah, so that will be in the fall of 2023. So it will be a very exciting project, and I hope there's many more Fiorellas to come from that. So.
Yeah. The whole idea is I think with everything we do, we kind of say, how far can we take this? And why wouldn't you, to me, a good time to stop is when, you're going 100 miles an hour and the bolts are flying off of the vehicle you're in, and maybe that's a good time to stop. But until that happens, we're just going to keep trying and keep going.
Yeah.
And myself and the rest of the public included will be very happy and glad to know that you're not going to stop, and we really do hope you make it to New York City one day. But congratulations on the Vegas opening, and we look forward to seeing more from you in the future. So thank you so much, Chef Matt and Kyle, for having us and sharing your delicious cuisine and telling us about the history of the space and everything else. And I can't wait to come back. So this is Laura Bray at LauraGramMIC on Instagram, here for Flavors of Philly at Fiorella Pasta Bar. And I'm saying, if you haven't been here, I mean, you're probably living under a rock in Philly, but if you haven't been here, definitely come here for some very unique and inspired, well-executed pasta dishes, along with a great cocktail program and a wonderful place to host a lot of your special occasions. I can't wait to come back.